The prophetic books only contain some of the prophets. Many of them are listed in the historic books as well.
Isaiah, Jeremiah, Amos, Ezekiel. Their names summon images of zealous men on distant hills giving warning. The words and deeds of the great prophets are enshrined in 16 books of the Bible. Who were they? And what created the unique phenomenon of prophecy in the ancient land Israel?
Every country had magicians. Every country had sorcerers. Every country had diviners and future tellers. But only Israel had prophets.
But despite their indelible impact on the history of ancient Israel, the Bible mentions no prophets during the time of the Exodus at approximately 1250 before the Common Era, nor during the period when the Hebrews first settled the Promised Land. It is only 200 years later, when dwindling faith and paganism distract the people from their holy covenant with God, that the prophets first begin to appear. Their mission is to return the people to God when allegiances are directed toward Israel's kings during the time of the monarchy. Biblical prophecy begins with Samuel, more than 1,000 years before the birth of Jesus, and would span more than 5 centuries. Selected by divine calling, the prophets would fulfill a crucial political role, driven to their task by an intense belief in the covenant between God and Israel.
The only reason for the survival of Israel was Israel's being loyal to that covenant. This loyalty to the covenant meant that Israel would no longer exist.
The big covenant the Israelites made with God were the Ten Commandments and Moses. They were told that they'd be blessed and God would help them as long as they obeyed them, and be cursed and God would not help them if they disobeyed them. The covenant was to love God and have no other gods, and to treat people with decency and respect.
But the truth of the history of Israel is that it is an ongoing drama of covenant made and covenant broken and covenant remade and covenant broken and covenant remade.
But times change, and so do people. A nation once stable behind 2 good kings quickly spiraled out of control yet again. After Solomon, the nation split in 2, and kings grew to hate God. This triggered the need for prophets to warn the people about their sin and judgment that would follow. They portrayed God's judgment as vengeful, powerful, compassionate, just, loving, redemptive, matchless, comforting, mysterious, and faithful. Why? Because exile is coming. Israel is a ticking time bomb.
During that period of time, when there were kings in Israel and the divided kingdom, God was trying to get the Israelites to turn back to him. And one of the ways he did that was with a prophet by the name of Hosea. He told Hosea to marry a woman who was a prostitute that had affairs with other men. And he did that. And then God was dramatically showing the Israelites through Hosea that they, by worshiping other gods, were turning away from him just the same way that Hosea's wife had turned away from him.
Did you know one of the most heartbreaking love stories ever told is hidden in the pages of the Bible? It's the story of Hosea and Gomer. God asked Hosea, faithful propheto, marry a woman named Gomer, a woman known for living a life of betrayal and broken promises. He obeyed. He loved her. And together, they had 3 children. But her heart wandered. She left him and returned to her old ways. Even then, Hosea didn't walk away. He stayed, raised the children, waited. And when Gomer lost everything, when her choices led her into slavery, God told Hosea, Go, Bring her back. So he did. He bought her freedom at the slave market. And he loved her again. Fully. Fiercely. Unconditionally. It's not just a love story between a man and a woman. It's a picture of how God loves us, even when we stray, even when we don't deserve it. This is grace. This is redemption. This is love.
It's important to remember the story of Hosea when we look at what is going to happen to Israel. The divided kingdom, the northern kingdom, is going to get destroyed first, and the prophets are going to talk to Israel and Judah as well to tell them to turn back to God while there's still time. And they just ignore the prophets as they keep giving their warnings. And eventually, the bad stuff that the prophets prophesied does happen.
Prophets from both Israel and Judah are active during this period. Prophets like Joel, Obadiah, Jonah, and Hosea are concerned with the Israelites engaging in idolatry, mistreating the underprivileged, falling away from God and from the covenant. By the 8th century BC, the prophets are convinced that the Jewish people have strayed too far.
Prophets in their time and in their context are social advocates. They're critics. Sometimes they're critical of the monarchy. Sometimes they're critical of the people.
One such social advocate is the prophet Amos. He is thought to have prophesied around 750 BC. Amos is not a member of the wealthy elite, who he, by God's command, condemns in his prophecy. Amos's calling coincides with a period of great economic prosperity in the kingdom of Israel.
Amos was a shepherd, and God called him from his sheep and told him to go and deliver his message in the north.
Amos responds to his calling. He is disheartened by the growing gap between the rich and the poor. In chapter 2, verses 6 through 13, Amos warns the wealthy of the consequences of their actions. They sell the righteous for money, and the needy for a pair of sandals. Behold, I am weighted down beneath you, as a wagon is weighed down when filled with sheaves.
The goal of the prophet was to get people to change their actions now, to get people to take care of the poor now, to get people to uplift the marginalized now.
But Amos's most dire prediction is that the kingdom of Israel will be destroyed if it does not turn from its present course.
Amos wrote his prophecy in the 8th century BC, and he was writing it primarily to the northern tribes.
Then the Lord said to me, "The end has come upon my people Israel. I will never again pass them by. The dead bodies shall be many, cast out in every place. Be silent."
After the prophets told Israel that they would be destroyed if they did not heed what God had said, they were destroyed. And then the warnings went to Jerusalem and Judah, and they also were warned that if they did not change, they would be destroyed.
The prophet Jeremiah faced danger and rejection as he delivered messages that no one wanted to hear. Let's explore his courageous journey. Jeremiah was born in a small town called Anathoth. From a young age, he felt a special calling from God to be a prophet. Even though he was young and unsure, he accepted this important role. God gave Jeremiah messages to share with the people of Judah. He warned them to stop worshipping idols and to treat each other fairly. If they didn't listen, their city, Jerusalem, would be destroyed. Sadly, most people ignored him and continued their bad ways. Because of his warnings, Jeremiah faced many challenges. Some people made fun of him, others threatened him, and he was even put in prison. Despite these hardships, he remained committed to sharing God's messages. Just as Jeremiah had warned, Jerusalem was conquered by the Babylonians. The city was destroyed, and many people were taken away. Jeremiah witnessed this tragedy and felt deep sorrow for his people. Jeremiah's story teaches us about courage and staying true to one's beliefs, even when it's hard. His messages are still read today, reminding us of the importance of doing what's right. What do you think about Jeremiah's journey? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring stories from history.
The prophets themselves faced many hard consequences for preaching the messages that they did. They were unpopular. Sometimes they were put in prison. Sometimes they were killed or run out of town. Jeremiah was going to preach to the kingdom of Judah and Jerusalem, and they were going to ignore him, and then they were going to put him in prison. Eventually, they were going to get destroyed. After Israel and Judah were destroyed, there's a different message the prophets are delivering. And this message is to the people that are in exile. Israel is scattered all over, but Judah, it went to Babylon. They were captured by the Babylonians. And there were people like Daniel, a prophet, that was going to preach to them. Basically, it wasn't so much preaching as it was that he was showing that stay faithful to the faith and stay strong, and God's going to help you. And he's kind of like that hero example of someone that stays strong in the faith.
Have you ever heard about a man who stared death in the face and walked away without a scratch? What if I told you he survived a den of hungry lions, interpreted dreams that baffled kings, and saw visions of the end of days? This is not fiction. This is the story of Daniel, a young exile in a foreign land, chosen by God to stand before empires, defy tyrants, and speak truth to power. If you're into stories of divine intervention, political intrigue, unshakable faith, and yes, lions, then this story is going to grip you from beginning to end. It all begins in Jerusalem. In the 3rd year of King Jehoiakim's reign, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, besieged the holy city. The temple treasures were taken, and so were the best of Israel's youth, young men of nobility, intelligence, and strength. Among them was Daniel. Torn from his homeland and thrust into the glittering courts of Babylon, Daniel was selected to be trained in the language and literature of the Chaldeans. They changed his name to Belteshazzar and tried to mold him into a Babylonian. But Daniel made a quiet, powerful choice. He would not defile himself with the king's food or wine. With wisdom and courage, he requested vegetables and water instead, and God honored him. After 10 days, Daniel and his friends looked healthier than all the others. God granted them knowledge and understanding, and to Daniel alone, the ability to interpret dreams. One night, King Nebuchadnezzar was troubled by a dream so disturbing that he demanded all his wise men tell him what he dreamed, without him saying a word. When no one could, he ordered them all to be executed, including Daniel. But Daniel, calm and faithful, prayed to God, and the mystery was revealed to him in a vision at night. He stood before the king and described the dream perfectly. A massive statue, head of gold, chest of silver, belly of bronze, legs of iron, feet of iron and clay, and a stone not cut by human hands that crushed it all. It was a prophecy of kingdoms to come, and of one eternal kingdom that would never fall. Nebuchadnezzar fell on his face and declared, "Truly, your God is the God of gods and the Lord of kings." Daniel was promoted, and his friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, were given high positions. But the story doesn't stop there. The king, intoxicated with power, built a 90-foot golden image and commanded all to worship it. Daniel's 3 friends refused. They were thrown into a blazing furnace, so hot it killed the men who threw them in. But when the king looked, he saw 4 men walking unharmed in the fire, and the 4th looked like a son of the gods. When they came out, not even a hair on their heads was singed. Another miracle, another declaration. There is no other God who can save like this.